announced. Well, my name is Audra Morris, and I am the 1 month old membership chair of Impact Austin. So I'm still kind of cutting my teeth. I'll get into this a little bit more. I joined Impact Austin just over a year ago. So that's who I am. I'm a business owner in the Austin area and live in Kyle. So I'm representing Hays County for Impact Austin. And I'm so happy to see everybody. Christina, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much, Audra. We are super pumped to have you lead these efforts. For years, Impact Austin, as an 18-year-old women's collective giving circle here in Central Texas, a lot of our membership has been driven by our initial founders of Impact Austin. So this is a really awesome transition in some ways for Impact Austin to have volunteers like Audra, who have joined us even in recent years, lead these efforts to continue Impact Austin's mission to engage women in philanthropy. So I am thrilled that y'all are going to get to meet each other. My main intro, and I'm going to do a short overview of Impact Austin a little bit in just a bit. So if you take a minute while Nicole says her intro, you can pull up our website, impactaustin.org, just on the side, because I think in a little bit we're going to be referencing some pages, and it may make it easier to navigate in just a bit, but go ahead and pull that up. And Nicole, passing it off to you.
Thanks so much, Christina. I'm happy to see so many faces that I know that I've been communicating with just over email over the last year as you have been joining Impact Austin, and it's just so good to finally put faces and names together and be here in sort of a social setting like we would be in pre-COVID times, and learning more about each other and fostering that connection that so many Impact Austin members love. So I'm just happy to be a part of that today. And I'm the office manager for Impact Austin. So a lot of you may have been communicating with me just about some sort of logistical things about your membership. And I'm always here as a resource. If you ever have any questions about that stuff, please always don't hesitate to reach out at nicole@impactaustin.org. But I was going to turn it over and see if Susan might introduce herself just here. We're so glad to have you here as a board member representing too, before we turn it back over to Christina for some intros.
Thank you, Nicole. Hi, I'm Susan Palombo, and yeah, I'm just joining to really let you know how delighted we are to have you as new members of the organization. And Audra, thank you for stepping up to do this membership role, because membership really is the lifeblood of our organization. We are all here because we're passionate about giving back in our local community. And we do that in a really impactful way that most of us wouldn't be able to do on our own, by pooling our contributions together. And for those of you that want to, you can be really involved in deciding where those gifts are directed. And we all have an opportunity, even if you don't volunteer on a grant review committee, to vote and let our voices be known about where we want those funds to go. But it is that beginning of coming together and joining. And I'm not one of the 185 newcomers today, because I've been here now for 7 years, but I still feel like I'm kind of a newcomer. And my story is I was very, very involved in philanthropy and nonprofit community volunteering when I was in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and wanted to come down here to learn about the new organizations in the community. And I wanted to find out where were other women who were like-minded. And so actually now some of my very best friends in Central Texas are really from this organization. So we couldn't be more delighted to have you. I think I've been part of the organization since 2016. And I served on a grant review committee right away. chaired a grant review committee for a couple of years, co-chaired, I should say. Then I was an advisor. I've been on the board. I'm still on the board, and I am currently the past president. And again, I just want to let you know, all of the board members wish they could be here, but we do kind of spread out and try to go to different things. But if they were here, they would share my sentiment that we are so happy to have you, and we want to make sure you get plugged in and have the very best experience that you can. So anyway, welcome.
Thank you, Susan, so much. And I echo what Susan says, and knowing our board that they are extending a very warm welcome to each one of you. Our new board president that is taking over the president role, Catherine Mudge, also sent over a warm welcome, and you will get to see board members throughout the year at all of our programming. So we are super proud to have all these volunteers here. From Susan, you heard about some volunteer opportunities with Impact Austin. And Tonya Netzley, who's on with us today, is the chair of some of our social engagements. And so Tonya, I just wanted to see if you could take just a couple of minutes and just tell the folks on about our zone's social events. I know we don't have a lot of details nailed down as far as our virtual versus in-person options for the coming year, as things are continuing to shift around. But Tonya, if you just want to take just a moment and follow up with Susan's remarks on some of our social events.
Well, hello, ladies. Hope you're doing well. What Impact Austin has, first I want to talk about our social events are kind of tied to what we call zones. And all of our members are located in what we call a geographic area in around the Austin area. And so kind of where you live, but also maybe where you also work. And so that aspect it was an opportunity. We wanted to expand a few years ago, opportunities for members to be able to get to know each other. And so we've been planning and scheduling opportunities to socialize and to engage in the community. Since COVID, most of our activities have been kind of one of two things. We've been having different, what I call virtual social events, like maybe we might do something on Zoom that's tied to trivia, or maybe we talk about one of our favorite kind of topics or things like that. So we've been doing that, I guess, the last year and a half or so. And you may see, if you check out the website, you'll see maybe a few blogs and with maybe a couple of pictures about what we've been doing. In addition to that, we've been volunteering. We did some volunteer activities with the Central Texas Food Bank. We've done that a couple times. And again, there's also some pictures and some blogs on the website. And so I encourage you to check that out. And we just did something, we've been starting to get outside. So we did a hike and a picnic at one of the really nice parks in southwest Austin. So what we're trying to do, and what we'll try to do this next year, is maybe we'll try some more in-person events gradually, maybe particularly outside, and schedule again some more virtual activities. So what we can do on Zoom, again, like this, is kind of get to know each other a little bit and also have a little fun over a little theme. We always try to have a little theme about it. So, but again, I encourage you to check out the stories that we have on the website. It's under zones. There's some, also you'll see it under blogs. There's some little stories here and there, and also pictures. In fact, I want to thank the marketing committee for, they just did one recently about that included our hike and picnic that we recently did. So again, check out some of that. You'll get a chance to learn more about what zones are. So
thank you so much, Tonya, for all of your work on coordinating zones and members from all over our region. We do funding here in Travis County, and we also do funding in our surrounding counties. Just along like that, we've got members from across the region now. As Impact Austin, we're really becoming Impact Central Texas. And so I encourage y'all to get to know some of the women in your area, and also across different parts of Austin that you've been wanting to get to know a little bit too. So once we're out and about, we can learn about new places like the park that Tonya put together the event. So I wanted to direct y'all at this point now to Impact Austin's website, because later we'll have a few minutes for Q&A, or a bunch of minutes for Q&A, because I know discussion is key. But also we want to direct you to a resource, our website, where you might be able to find the answers to some of those questions that are going to come up for you when we aren't in front of you on a Zoom screen. So we want to enable y'all and empower y'all to check out what all's going on here, and use our website now as we work to make it more interactive. Use it as a method of communication back with us too. We've made a good point to put a feedback loop in place here with y'all, with all of our members, starting with something like our volunteer page, which you'll see here. Impact Austin's volunteer page, we set up an opportunity for y'all to reach out and raise your hands and say where you want to get plugged in with Impact Austin, where you may want to share your time and talent and treasure and expertise and your connections and your lived experiences across our organization. So we worked to create an opportunity to sign up with a brand new sign up form that allows you to share quickly just your personal information so we know how to reach you. Also give us a couple of options of different skills that you may bring to the table that you may be interested in sharing with Impact Austin. And then let us know if you see a particular committee or a particular area of interest that jumps out to you. And maybe when kids go back to school, hopefully they go back to school, or folks are in a more consistent routine, I think, where you've got time to get involved. Select some of the committees that you may be interested in joining, and we have a coordinated effort to follow up with y'all and get you plugged in. So volunteer form that you can access from our volunteer page, where you're able to see short descriptions of anything that you would be working on with those particular committees. So you see descriptions of what the time commitment may be, what the area of expertise, or even with Impact Austin, joining a committee to learn more. So not necessarily feeling like you know everything to get involved, but also if you've got a curiosity, which is one of our core values, jump on one of our committees where you can bring talent and also learn some stuff from your peers. Here over in the hot jobs section, I would like to plug the positions that are available and positions where we've given a bit more detail on what the time commitments would be and what the expectations would be, so that y'all can see if there's something of interest, and then again raise your hand so we can follow up with you. One more thing to plug, and then I'm going to pass it off. Again, we'll have time later for discussion, but just wanted to let you know in just a couple of minutes we're going to be going to our first breakout room. So just a heads up, that's on the horizon. But I also wanted to plug here our Girls Giving Grants program, because this is a hot time for Girls Giving Grants, our G3 program, and that they're doing recruitment right now. And our G3 program is our youth initiative for girls from 8th to 12th grade to get involved in philanthropy, just like Impact Austin members, of course, with their own expertise and their own flair. But they also pool their resources. They contribute $125 a year, 100 of which goes to their grant making pool, and then 25 goes to support the operations and technology and what it takes to run that program. So membership is open now. If you have young people in your life, if you have friends who have young people in their life, if you just want to take a moment and share this on your LinkedIn, on your social media, and you never know who's out there looking for a way for the wonderful girls in their life to get plugged into in our community. So those are what I wanted to hit for y'all to get you aware of just what some of the current events will be. We'll share more at the end about some opportunities to get together, but wanted to stop sharing. And then Nicole is going to be putting us in breakout rooms for just a few minutes, and they're going to be smaller groups. So there's an opportunity for y'all to chat. And the prompt, which we'll be posting, and again reminding you once you're in the breakout rooms, is if you could share your name, which is obviously on the screen, but it's always nice to hear people say their own names. As someone named Christina Gorczynski, it's kind of nice to hear the way people say their own names. So make sure to say your name, when you joined Impact Austin. So obviously y'all are relatively new to the organization, but it may give you some context of when each one of you sort of joined the table and joined the organization. And then if you could share with each other what motivated you to join. You could be a million places in the world right now, and you're here. And I think it would be really powerful to you for you to share with each other why you're here, what motivated you to be here, and also what you're hoping to gain from your experience. So get your deep breath and your glasses of water ready, and feel free to also eat lunch where it's lunchtime. And we're going to head to breakout rooms. So see some of you in just a minute. And Nicole, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Hi, ladies.
All right, everyone's coming back.
Yay!
And Audra is going to speak a little bit in just a minute. It looks like we're having folks. And before Audra, I just kick it over, just one quick thing. If you on our website want to take a look at our new, some of our new board members and our full board listing, I'm putting the link here in the chat. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at some of the amazing women who are working to lead this organization, from the board to the Strategic Advisory Council, all the way down to all of our committee chairs. So I encourage y'all to check out some of the leaders on our website. One of our amazing volunteer leaders is Audra Morris, who I will turn the program over. Audra is the chair of membership. So Audra, take it away.
Here we go. One of the things that I definitely was wanting to kind of talk to you guys about today is when I joined about a year ago, I probably spent the first 6 to 8 weeks kind of learning the language of Impact Austin, the acronyms, GRC, NP, zones, kind of like, well, what do all these different words mean? What do all these different terms mean? So when Christina and Nicole and I were laughing about that recently, they all mentioned that there was a blog post, and I just looked it up on the website, the ABCs of GRC. So it's kind of like the bilingual wording list, how to learn the terms of Impact Austin. But you definitely do get, it reminds me of I don't know if any of y'all had, foreign language classes in your high school or college years, but I had a few teachers that taught the entire class in the foreign language. So I kind of felt like I was a little bit back in that world when I first joined. And then pretty much right after I joined a GRC. So that was a grant review committee. So that was learning almost like a third language on top of Impact Austin lingo, but also learning the grant review committee lingo. And I will say for myself, that's when I was completely sold on Impact Austin, was being a part of the grant review committee. Like I mentioned in my breakout room, when I joined last year, it was because it felt like in the summer of 2020, kind of like the world was on fire. And I was like, oh goodness, I need to make sure that for my peace of mind, that I feel like I'm a part of any solution that I want to see happening in the world. And so Impact Austin really kind of landed in my lap at that time. And I loved that immediately. So I joined in July, and I think I was on the grant review committee in August. So I ramped up very, very quickly, and just loved being a part of the grant review committee, learning all of the different organizations that are in the area, and the work that they're doing was such a refreshing, it just felt like such a soother to see all the good work that's out there from all the different grants that we're applying with Impact Austin to have us fund their initiatives. And to me, that was just so powerful and so impactful. But I did have a couple of questions when I joined, and it's so nice to see that, you know, on the website, there is a search feature. So if you are looking for something, you can definitely type that in there. There's a bunch of great blog posts. The website's such a fantastic resource. I typed in ABCs, and the blog that pulled up was from October of 2019, the ABCs of GRCs. So that's definitely, like I said, your translation, if you will, your English to Spanish dictionary. For those of us that took Spanish classes, that was my savior for those 4 years of high school, is my Spanish to English dictionary. And so this will be kind of like your Impact Austin terminology dictionary, is the ABCs of GRCs. And but the thing behind the GRCs are the membership. That's our membership, and our dues are what fund those grant review, what funds the grants that we're reviewing in the grant review committee. So that's why you guys are just vital to this organization. And I just, like I said, I'm more than honored to serve as your membership chair, and just love all the work that this organization does. So did I fill my 10 minutes already?
You definitely covered the topics that we did the bullet points. So I think you covered the topics. And the grant review sign up. So you're obviously hearing us give a plug to getting involved. And with Impact Austin, there is no time commitment. So you can give as much or little time as you'd like. You can choose your own adventure if you want to reference like a cultural touch point from my age, which is a choose your own adventure book. So choose your next chapter. Get involved if you'd like. One best way to do that, that's such a great learning opportunity and a way to engage, is through our GRCs, our grant review committees. The deadline for the upcoming fall review just officially closed a couple of days ago, but we do have some flexibility if anyone would like to get involved. So if there's anyone here scheduling wise, if it didn't work out to already sign up, but you think scheduling wise now you may have some time, our health and well-being grant and our equity grant are the two grant review processes that we will conduct this year. So our health and well-being grant, health and well-being being defined very broadly for all the aspects of health, every single way that we can create a healthier community. And also our equity grant. So our equity grant was born out of our social innovation grant that we launched as a 2-year pilot from our 3-year strategic plan in 2019. And we had a group of women work together on a pilot committee to determine that there were major funding gaps in the Central Texas region for collaboratives, meaning multiple organizations working together. There was also a gap in funding in programming for women and girls of color in Central Texas. When we started to research some of the outcomes and some of the lived experiences of women and girls in Central Texas, we determined that Impact Austin had a place to step in and had an urgency behind some of our work that before we really dug in, I think a lot of us weren't as aware as we now are. And so the Social Innovation Grant and all the work and all the applications and all of our incredible community partners showed us is that we needed to make this part of our grant making process, to bake in, not to do a pilot, but to bake in a specific grant moving forward with Impact Austin that's now our equity grant. So the topic for our equity grant is advancing equity for women and girls of color in Central Texas. Both committees, I think, wouldn't mind a couple more volunteers. So if you are interested, I don't think we're doing the thing where we're like calling people on the phone saying jump on, but if you are interested, I think that we can talk to our GRC chairs and make it work. So there'll be time for questions after the next breakout room, which this is the sort of minute warning. And the next breakout room is going to be a little bit shorter than the last, the 10 minutes, but it's an opportunity for each one of you to take a few minutes, so maybe 3 to 4 minutes, each one of you. I think we're doing some smaller rooms on this one. Nicole's working the magic in the background to get that ready to go. So, and then take turns with each other and really listen. The prompt is, what is a cause or issue that really moves you personally and or about which you really care? So if you could share with your colleague, your fellow member in a room, an issue or cause that you really care about or specifically motivates you, and or one that you care about very deeply. So with that, see you in just a bit. Wonderful. And I are so wonderful, and I do not want to interrupt you saying nice things about anyone or any of the amazing women here. To give a quick shout out to Linda Yang and Judy McCarthy, who are here with us live in person. Amazing women who have made it possible for us to stay engaged in the community online. Our website is our storefront. These women built our storefront right now. And so I want to honor y'all and also ask that folks, we're going to open it up for a few minutes of questions and then have one last breakout room. That's going to be a very special topic I think you'll like. But give some space for questions, but let's all keep in touch with each other. I know that y'all have had an opportunity probably to meet, but if you'd like to go ahead and drop your name, your email address, your phone number, whatever you want to share with each other of ways to keep plugged in or keep in touch if you've been inspired to follow up with each other in any way, and any other information you want to share with each other in the chat. And then also, if y'all have any questions, so this is the chance to ask a few minutes of anything that you didn't hear, that you were on your way here from the living room to your desk and said, oh, I want to make sure that I find this out, and you haven't heard it yet. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So earlier, when you were navigating through the website on the volunteer piece and filling out the form of interests, so I think I had filled that out a while ago. Is there, a follow-up action associated with, oh, okay, here's the people that filled this out, and this is the spaces and where they're interested in, and what's that timeline look like?
Yeah, exactly. So we created a system, a follow-up system over the summer where each one of our committee chairs, we've gone through everyone that submitted interest forms and skills and volunteer forms since January when we launched the form. We did a little matrix. Nicole did a very little matrix to make sure you didn't get hit up multiple ways. And then we've assigned folks out as of this week out to, now that we're programming is picking up and volunteer opportunities are picking up. So y'all will be hearing from the committee chair to whom you are assigned if you have expressed a specific interest in something shortly. So this is going to be the month for us to be reaching out. Committee meetings are picking up and starting up again in this month and in September. So if you filled out one of those forms, you have now officially been assigned to someone as of Monday, and you'll be hearing from folks in the next couple weeks here. And that's a good question, Michelle. Any other questions from folks? That was a good one. Because y'all thought of everything. We thought of everything. Because some people might need to jump off before the when we first come back for the breakout, which will be about 5 to 6 minutes once we open it up. But if you do need to jump out, I want to plug our upcoming events, which are, again, are on our website, on our events page. We've got some special events coming up. Our bite-sized learning event that's coming up, and they'll be posted here in the chat as well. Because you can go to our events page or even on our homepage, and you can see everything we have coming up. The big one is our next one is our bite-sized learning, where we can hear from 2 women. We'll be hearing from 2 women on their philanthropic journey, on ways they were able to get involved in the community to help plug in with, that's going to be a quick one. I think that's like a 40, 30, 45-minute event. We're doing a member info session on September 9th. That is going to be a back to school theme. So the focus will be education. As I heard many folks say, education was one of their key interests. Our Women Leaders event is going to give folks an overview of some of the wonderful women in organizations here in Central Texas. Our save the date, the big save the date, and then we'll go to breakouts, is our town hall, where we will be announcing our grants. We'll be hearing from our previous community partners on the outcomes of y'all's earlier grants that were made. So this is an opportunity to hear about the investments that you've made and the amazing return on those investments to our community, and also hear who our next community partners will be. That event will be virtual, and stay tuned. So that night, the 16th, will be a virtual event. We are working right now to secure, we're putting together a really cool opportunity for y'all to get together potentially for a celebration 2 days after the event at a large outdoor area for people to have an opportunity to, with all things being well, get to see each other in person in an outdoor, beautiful green space at an amazing park. So details to be announced, but very excited about what we've done to work on that. So we are going to head out to the next breakout rooms. Nicole, you're not on video, but I assume you're back there. If you're not, there she is. There she goes. And so the last prompt, and then we'll come back in just a few minutes, is we're going to put just a couple of people in each room. So I think we have that. We talked about this one being designated for 2 folks. And what we're hoping you can do in about 8 minutes is find 2 to 3 things that you have in common with the other person that you're talking to. We're going to set the timer and give you an opportunity to find something that you have in common with the other person that you're talking to. We can come back in the chat and maybe say some of those before we say goodbye. But Nicole, do your thing, work your magic. You make it look easy, even though I know it's nerve-wracking every time.
Hi, everyone.
Yay, people are popping back in. This is so much easier than in-person events where like everyone's like, I'm like, everybody back in the hall, we're gonna do the announcement. It's so much easier to be like, boom, everyone's back in the auditorium. So very cool. So if y'all want to write in the chat as we're on our way out, if y'all want to write in the chat anything you found in common, just so we can like look through anything you found in common that you want to share with your folks, whatever you want to share from what you discovered, and give time for another question. If you'd like anything else before we go, our goal is to get you started on time and finished on time. So at least once this week, I can say I really hit a goal that we intended to do. So go 18-month of quarantine. We're still making it happen.
And I'll follow up. I know almost everybody here, I think, put their contact information. So I'll grab those from the chat and I'll just send around an email. So everybody has everybody's contact information from this group, and you can kind of connect with those that you may have chatted with today.
Awesome.
Thank you all again so much. I'm seeing some cool things that everybody has in common. Paulina and Susan. This is awesome. I love that everyone's got, I mean, these ladies have interesting names. I appreciate it. Actually, all 3 of you. I did ask you how you said them phonetically the first time you met, or picked up what you put down when you said your name correctly to me. Again. Audra, anything else before we send folks on their way?
Man, we are just some of the luckiest ladies. I just can't even tell you. We're some lucky ladies to have this community. So thank you all so very much.
All right, let's do what we don't normally do in person, but let's do that thing, Rise. Rise and I know. At one point, Rise is like, do you ever wave in person? None of us do this. But now we're like, bye, the meeting's over, the event's over. But anyway, sending y'all giant hugs. Thank you so much again. Awesome event, ladies. Thanks again for those who spoke. I appreciate y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.